Anyway, a quick history of the story, where it came from. Okay, it's the self-indulgent. Um, there's two different versions of the story. One that I wrote 20 years ago, and the one that you have now. The one that I wrote 20 years ago was based on a whole bunch of stuff. But the main thing was I'd woken from a dream in which I was reading a movie capsule, and there was this movie called Bank Holiday, and it was the story of this juvenile singer during the early stages of the Depression who is stranded in a rough section of town on Roosevelt's Bank Holiday. Can't access his money and has to get by on his wits. So I start writing this book, and about 10 pages into it I said, I'll write this, I'll write something else. When I was a kid, I had another idea of a story of a little boy who happens upon a house that's been closed, it's been boarded up for several years. The people who had lived there just left, and they left everything as it had been, making it a virtual time capsule of what life had been like a few years earlier. So I decided to combine these two stories together, and there you have it. The rest, that's how it was. The original book was called The Interloper. It wasn't called Anna's House, and the way they differed is the two characters were younger. They were both 12. Eddie was more of a punk. He was a lot less likable. And he and Anna bicker quite a bit during the course of the story. There was a monster, but he had a different name. I don't remember what it was. It's been so long since I wrote the damn thing. I've forgotten a bunch of it. There was a lot less backstory on Sid, and it had a downbeat ending. It did not end happily ever after. Anna gets it in the very end. The decision to rewrite it was pretty simple. I'm going to bear a little of my soul here. Armand knows the story because I've told him lots of times. I began writing the story in the summer of '09. The relationship I was in was dying. I was living in a house with a woman who did not like me very much. The house was very old, and I felt like I was trapped inside it. It was a place where time had stopped. It had stopped for us. So inspiration for the story was not hard to come by. And I thought, this time around, we're going to have a better title, because Interloper is an intruder. It's not a great title for the book. Anna's House is a little bit more encompassing. It gives you a little bit more idea. Decided to tie up all the loose ends from the original story. The original story was creepier and weirder. This version I wanted to be succinct and efficient. I want to explain everything so that there's no questions. Gave a little bit more backstory on Sid, made Eddie a lot more nice and likable, and made him more worshipful of Anna, because you have to justify the reason he's so worshipful of her, because he's worshipful of her. Pretty simple, huh? Anyway, and made Eddie more optimistic and a lot more likable. And that's pretty much it. That's the story. That's where it came from. Anybody have any questions?